is Keyed In with Max and Brent, unlocking the minds of the industry's top real estate professionals. And now, here are your hosts, Max Rabin and Brent Jackson.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Keyed In podcast. I'm Max Rabin.
And I am Brent Jackson.
Brent, today we have Anna Mackler with Long & Foster. She's with the Sky Group, with Barack Sky, who we had on a long time ago.
It's been a while.
I think we need to get him back on at some point, actually.
We do.
He's an interesting character. Anna, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
You're remote today. Where are you not in DC? Are you somewhere else? What's going on?
I'm in Bethesda.
Okay.
We had a little bee sting incident, so just dealing with the kids with that. And otherwise, I would love to be in the studio. It looks like a really cool place.
All right. As we were just discussing before we started recording, we've been having a lot of parental conversations on the podcast. So let's just jump right into that. Maybe our listeners will be like, their ears will tune right in. Tell us about the bee sting incident. You tried to get your kids outside. What happened?
Yeah. So like many parents of kids with teenage kids these days, like they spend a lot of times online with their friends, and that's how they communicate with each other. So I was trying my best to get them outside to play in the yard, and they were playing soccer for 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden someone starts screaming, the shirt comes off, and there's been a bee sting on lip, and the lip gets huge, and everybody freaks out, and thank God for Benadryl. But yeah, quite an exciting adventure.
But the lip, though, I mean, like, why
That's
not
gotta
just like
hurt.
an arm or something? Why does that have to be a lip?
I know, of all places. And then one of my kids is saying the other one, oh, this wasp had a vendetta against you. Like, this wasp was looking for you, So now he's scared to go outside. So got to start all over.
Perfect.
So what do you do? I mean, you mentioned Benadryl. Is there anything else you do, like a warm rag or
Ice.
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 All
A lot of ice packs in the fridge for multiple uses.
So keep that one in the memory bank for when that happens to you, okay?
And does the wasp die? I think honeybees or bumblebees, whatever, when they sting, they die.
That's what I told him. I said, don't, the wasp is definitely dead at this point. But
all right, well, let's go. Let's just get back into real estate. Let's go. I'm sorry about the bee sting. I'm sure it'll all be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, he's getting better.
So is he home playing video games today?
Yeah, now he's back in video games, I'm sure, right?
He's not. He is back at school.
Oh,
but
Okay, all right.
yeah.
So you've been in the DC area for your whole life?
Whole life, yeah.
Where? Like Bethesda, DC? Tell us where.
So I grew up in Tacoma Park,
Okay.
Tacoma Park, Maryland side, and I went to Blair High School. And then for college, I actually bounced around a bit. I went to Trinity College in DC for the first year and a half. Then I went to University of Maryland for a couple years, and then graduated from GW.
All right, that's legit DC. I'm going to give you, that's big credit there. And then, so how did you get into real estate? Tell us about your real estate origins.
So I did landscape design build with a family business for years before real estate. And as I was kind of transitioning through some life moments, real estate always interested me, and I was already in the design build field and always looked at property. And I had a good friend who actually worked at Long & Foster, a family friend who worked at Long & Foster, and, would always talk to her about the business, and it was interesting. And so I just kind of, in 2015, the end of 2015, I just said, let me take my classes and see what happens. And I studied harder than I think I've ever studied in my life for these. I really wanted to do so well. And it was the first time I'd been in school for a long time. So I took the test.
Which test did you take? Did you take DC or Maryland?
I started with Maryland. And then I did DC, and then Virginia I put off for a couple years, which I'm kicking myself for not having done sooner, because we all know the DMV is really like, it's one unit. So, but now I'm licensed in all three.
What I was thinking about was I've known you for a while, but 2015 isn't yesterday, but I feel like you've been in the business way longer than that. It seems like, because you're obviously, we have lots of great realtors on here. You're also very successful. So you've managed to do a lot in those years. Can you just go ahead and tell us, like,
year one, 2015?
Yeah. Like how were your first years? Did you start off like hot out of the gate, or how did it go?
Yeah. So I passed the test in like December of 2015, and then I was connected to Barack and his mom actually in early 2016. And I kind of thought I was going to ease into it because I was still really full-time mom, working part-time with a family business and trying to juggle everything. So I was like, all right, let me see if I can ease into this. And I hit the ground running pretty quickly, unexpectedly. I posted, I think on Facebook it was maybe, and the first person who called me was the kids of some family friends, and they said, hey, we want to talk to you about real estate. And I went, and unbeknownst to me, it was an actual interview to be their buyer's agent. They had spoken to a couple other people, and they were like, hey, we'd love to work with you. And funny enough, actually just this house I sold them, the first house I ever sold, I just resold it this summer. So that was kind of full circle.
Just for fun, can you tell us the price point? So when you bought it in 2016 and then when you sold it just recently?
Yeah, so they bought it for $675. It had multiple offers. I was like shaking in my boots, scared. Brock really helped me with that one. And then we sold it for $950, I think it was. And this was in Petworth.
Okay.
Oh, not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Yeah. So, and I kind of thought also, I joined a team with the idea that I was really going to need leads and I wouldn't have anyone from my sphere to work yet, but I was really heavy sphere for the first year and a half. I would say I didn't really get into, Zillow leads and figuring out how that all worked until maybe like 2 years in. So it was great. I mean, my sphere really came through strong and trusted in me. And, it was awesome. I was excited. It was like the first time I felt connected to my work in a way that it didn't feel like work. And that was really exciting because every job before that really just kind of felt like work.
When you first joined the Sky team, what was the dynamic? Were you just another agent, or were you getting specific types of leads? Because I know that Barack Sky focused really heavily on Zillow for many years, and like he spent a lot of money to do the Zillow leads when that was popular. It's not like quite as amazing as it was before, but tell us about your role and all of that.
Yeah. So the team was a very different place when I first joined. So actually so the family friend who connected me with Barack and Hannah, she was kind of coming off a bad year and I thought I was going to work with her. And she said, if I was a newer agent, I would join a team, talk to Barack and Hannah, because I know he's kind of trying to start his own thing. So he actually didn't respond to me for the first 3 times I reached out and emailed. So Hannah called me in and I met, and I'm meeting him that day as well. And I didn't know up from down in real estate. I mean, I had talked to just the manager of that office, and Hannah, I don't know if you guys have met Hannah Sky. She's amazing.
Been a while, but yeah, for sure I have.
Yeah. So she basically came in and was like, nope, this is it. You're good. You'll start next week. And I was like, okay. I kind of just really didn't know what to expect. And at that point, there were a couple other people working with Barack, and he had this assistant who was great. And then his mom was still working. And there were a couple of people kind of working under her. So I came in with the idea of just kind of joining what Barack was trying to build, alongside his mom. And she's since, phased out kind of pretty soon after that, and works kind of on a referral basis. But so I came in and he was doing the Zillow leads, but I had trouble connecting with the leads, like the online leads in the beginning for a while. And I thought that was going to be like the main source of my business. And like I said, it wasn't. My sphere came in pretty heavy. And then it wasn't until later where I guess I, felt more comfortable and built up some experience where I was like, okay, I finally understand how to tackle these leads. And then I started investing heavily in Zillow too. So between the both of us, we were spending over $50,000 a month doing this market-based pricing through Zillow.
That's crazy.
I know. When they talk about these numbers, it's like those people, the Zillow investors must have been like, "Thank you." But there was an ROI. I mean, there clearly was an ROI.
That's my next question, right? So if you're paying $50,000-ish a month, that's $600,000 a year. Like, can you quantify that? Like, you guys did 50 million in volume, or?
We have those numbers somewhere, and I'm not as good as keeping track of the numbers as our operations guy is, but the numbers made sense. And I still have a lot of that. We don't do the market-based pricing now. We do the Flex program, but these leads were just great to be able to pinpoint and get into certain neighborhoods that you wanted to get into. So you could invest heavily in a certain zip code, and then you would get great leads from there. And so it was definitely worth it it was a mindset shift when we switched the Flex program. But that's been great for us too.
We invested a little bit. God, this is way back when, and we did 20003, and we did a lot of work. We still do a Navy Yard, and consumers are just interesting characters in the sense that we had I remember this like yesterday, but we had a NASA astronaut come through off of a Zillow lead and purchase a house all cash. I'm like, why did this person not have an agent?
100%. I mean, that's why, I had a mentor at one point. Someone said to me, leads are still people. Like, I wasn't looking at them as like people really. I was kind of like, oh, they're bots calling in. But no, they're real people who just went online, and Zillow is an amazing platform, and, people synonymous with real estate. So people click on it and want a tour. And I've been amazed at the people I've been connected with through that. I've even been connected with people who I know. And I'm like, what are you doing on Zillow? I'm like, I thought I explained this, but it's a lesson learned also to me and all of us realtors that, like, if you don't stay on top of your sphere and the people that you can't assume that they're going to call you.
But Zillow is, it's kind of like a black hole though for real estate. I was just on a buyer call yesterday. This was a buyer referred to me by like a relative. So I would say a very warm, normal type of sphere lead. And they're like, well, so can you connect us with, like the MLS and the ability to search through the MLS. And I said, to be totally honest with you, the interfaces that we have, the consumer facing interfaces that we have with MLS right now, most of my buyers don't like it. I said, I still get plenty of texts and emails like, I saw this on Zillow, I saw this on Redfin. I mean, they still have the fully dominant, beautiful aesthetic search engine that all the consumers are used to at this point. So, I mean, that's what they have. So.
Yeah, it's hard to it's hard to compete with that. So it's like, Zillow is a blessing and a curse. I mean, we just kind of have to use it for what it's worth at this point. I mean, and the path of least resistance for people oftentimes is just clicking that button. And I mean, even now, I'm sure you guys get, sometimes clients will say to you, oh, sorry to bug you on a weekend, and I'm like, I work weekends.
Yeah, please bug me.
Right. And that I didn't work weekends. And so this mentality a lot of buyers have is like, I don't want to bother anybody. I don't want to bother an agent. They just do not understand the process.
So sliding back here a little bit to 2016, just for our new listeners that are, new to the business listeners, 2016, you come from DC. Do you have an idea what your first year volume was?
First year I did 5 million.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the next year I did 15 million. And then the year after 20 million. And then just kept going
up.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah.
So,
it was really the first time in my life where it was such a cool feeling, because I had worked with my ex-husband's business and I worked with my family business. And this was the first time where I really, I had the support of the team, but this is really the first time that I built something myself where I could say, wow, what I'm putting in, I'm getting out. And I was up at 6 a.m. before the kids got up, and I was working till midnight in my bed on the computer. I didn't stop. I did everything in the beginning. I just really had something to prove to myself and wanting to just get out of the situation I was in and be able to provide for myself. And so that was a really good feeling. And,
so let's talk about, let's talk about the Sky Group though. So with the Sky Group, you're still with Long & Foster. Long & Foster is one of the older brokerage brands in the DC area. A lot of new agents or a lot of the other top agents in the city are not gravitating towards this brand anymore, but the Sky Group is held firm. I'd say you're definitely the number one team with Long & Foster. Is that right?
Right. Yeah. No, we're definitely, for DC for sure. And yeah, we're up there in the top 2 or 3 for Maryland.
So you're like the flagship Long & Foster team. What is the dynamic of the team right now? I know that you're a top agent. Obviously, it's Brock Sky's name, but I feel like it could be the Sky Mackler team at this point, because we see your name a lot.
So we run the team. We're both the team leaders, and we, as a part, we partner together in life and in work at this point. And so we really run the team sort of with this family mentality of helping each other out and creating this culture that's like it's really strong work ethic, but also like to have fun and really like to help people and create this greater experience. So, I mean, we're running the meetings together. We both have our strengths and our weaknesses. So, we focus on kind of different things, and the agents on the team come to us for different things. But
so what do they come to you for? I'm just curious.
they come to me. So I have, with the design background, I do a lot of prepping listings and kind of helping both buyers and sellers see the potential in their spaces. So for people to, like, if they have listings, trying to figure out how to prep a listing for sale and how to deal. I've also had, I mean, I know everybody's had crazy stories in real estate. I feel like I've had just, a lot of interesting clients and just through that experience. So people are always coming and asking me, how to deal with certain situations. And I think creativity also, I have a design background with graphics as well and marketing. So just trying to get creative on marketing ideas and social media. So people definitely come to me for that as well.
What is the total group right now? How many people do you have in your team?
So we have 8, we're 8 agents, and then we have 5 staff.
I didn't realize you had that many agents.
Yeah, we have a couple. Well, we have one who's now moving out of the country. It's going to be a satellite office in Columbia, and then we have one in Annapolis. Our core group in Bethesda is really 6 of us, and then we have our listing coordinator, transaction operations, client concierge, and then I have my right hand, Anna, not Anna, so it's Anna and Anna.
Oh, okay.
My executive coordinator.
So the 8 agents, are those like 8 buyer agents? Are they divvied up between listing and buyer agents?
So we pretty much do it. I mean, so Barack and I do the majority of the listings, and then we have a guy, Rick, who just joined our team, who also does listings, and then we have a couple other agents who sometimes do listings, but otherwise they're mostly buyer heavy.
And then the client concierge, what does that position do? I mean, I have an idea, but just for the listeners.
Yeah. So he's really on the listing side of helping to check on properties, make sure that everything looks good, business cards, water, booties, like signs, lock boxes, just even, if we have properties where clients are out of the country, they come and, he comes and checks on the properties, blows the leaves if need be. He does everything.
So with obviously with the Zillow roots for Barack's business and where you guys are paying a lot of money for those types of leads, and you guys are still on the Flex program with Zillow. You guys are bringing in a lot of like internet leads. You got your Sphere. You guys are clearly using a legit real CRM, right?
Yes, we use Boomtown for our CRM,
okay.
Which is a very extensive platform. And I have to say, I don't use it to its full capacity like I should, but it's hard. We're always running around, so sometimes inputting the information is more difficult. But yeah, we have a lot of back-end systems we provide to the team, which is great and helps keep everybody as organized as possible.
What about for you and Barack in terms of like your roles? You were talking about how each of you has your strengths and weaknesses, but I've certainly seen you guys out there working together on a lot of things. Do you work on the majority of things together, or are you still like? Does he have his types of clients that he works with? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we definitely have our own set of clients, and we bring each other in as need be, and we have a good synergy of working together. We always have, and like me having him deal with my clients or vice versa is like a seamless experience. Like and we work really well together in that way. The development projects we work on together a lot, just because I help with the design and the layouts and kind of start to finish. I mean, ground up new construction is just different and it's a longer process. So we're very involved in that, the branding of the property, the social media, the marketing, all of that. Otherwise, our buyers and sellers, like we sometimes, he'll bring me in on listings to help with listing prep and getting a house ready for sale. But otherwise, we also, really have our separate things. Buyers, we don't work together on usually, unless they're like, family, friends, or people we know, or it's an area that, I specialize in. Or
So you guys do a lot of new developments, because I know we've competed with you guys before on projects. If you have a project that's, let's say, 5-10 units plus, do you have another junior agent in your team that kind of mans that ship as far as like open houses? Because developers want an open house like every Saturday, Sunday. So I don't know if you guys are doing it.
Yeah, so we do open houses as much as we can, and it's nice with the team that we have the manpower to do that. We have very set expectations for open houses, and our listing coordinator, sends out a lot of details on that. And so for the projects, we might assign a specific agent to kind of like be the expert on that project, and to maybe come and do certain showings and be like the open house master at that project. But otherwise, we also open it up to the team for open houses on Saturday and Sunday to try to get some buyer leads, and then also just give exposure to the property.
You mentioned listing coordinator sending out an email for open houses. I mean, what kind of information is in that? Is it about how to hold an open house, or is it about the property in particular?
It's both. I mean, because we all know, like, and I actually recently lost a listing because of an agent at an open house that wasn't on our team. And we usually have our team hold it open, but we have a lot of open houses. So we have these opportunities, and we'll reach out to other Long and Foster agents to see if they want to hold it open. And, it's definitely, I feel like it's a privilege and an opportunity to hold an amazing open house, especially when you get it after a price drop, or it's like the first weekend. I mean, we can only be in one place at a time. And so some of these agents, I'm still shocked that they'll come and show up and they won't put signs up. They'll sit in a chair. They don't really do anything. And so that's kind of like the seller saw that on camera, and then we lost the listing because of that, which
total agent to agent talk here. Like my team's not as large as yours, but we have our inventory, and then, manning these open houses on weekends. I have some new developments sometimes, and those same types of guys, they want their things open all the time. And it's like, how do I get someone? Sometimes we offer money, right? Sometimes you offer like a gift card or like just paid.
Which is crazy to me, because
right?
I'm like, all right, if I give you $100, are you going to give me the leads that walk through the door? Like, what if you get development projects too? Like, a lot of developers will go into development projects and check out, what's going on, and think that the agent there is the listing agent. Like, we have people who are not on our team who have gotten development projects from holding the open house at our projects.
But Anna, let me just ask you this though too. This is also this is sort of like rhetorical, but you're an agent, you're a newish agent at a brokerage. There's an opportunity to hold an open house, and someone's offering you $100, and so that means there's a potential there for meeting new buyers, getting some experience, and actually like just getting paid like an hourly, and like nobody responds. Nobody responds in an agent in an agency with like hundreds of agents. Nobody even replies. I don't understand what has happened.
Nobody wants to work.
Shrinking, because I think it's weeding out people who actually want to do the work. I mean, over the last few years, people will look at the social media and look at real estate and the TV shows, and they'll think it's going to be much easier than it is. And so, just like to your first question with what the email says, I mean, it's got specifics about the property, everything that they should be doing themselves, like researching where it is, like what's around, what property highlights are there, is what the HOA fee is, like all the information that we can give to help support this agent at the open house, so that they can, really sell it for our sellers. But it's amazing to me the opportunities that are sometimes wasted by lazy agents, honestly, who just, I feel like aren't right for the business.
And you mentioned the camera situation. It's like that's become just a nightmare situation for some. It's like you're outside standing, and it's like the agent's inside, like you're on Ring doorbell or whatever. And it's like you can't be candid with your client in the property because you're still being watched from afar.
I always tell the team all the time, I'm like, just like I tell my kids when they're texting, just pretend I'm behind you. And like, if you can't text it with me looking at it, don't text it. It's the same thing with these agents. Like, if you don't think the seller can hear what you're about to say, or, it disrupts like client privilege with your client, just don't say it. Wait till you get out of the property. Because just assume that everyone has cameras these days.
Yeah. And so a quick anecdote, like we had a listing for years, finally sold. It was a super high-end condo, so it was a tricky market for that. And this was an owner that had cameras in every room before that was a thing, and he would watch every showing and listen to every word that was said. Why didn't you tell him about this? Why didn't you? It's like, brother,
you open the curtains.
Like it's like you're flowing with you're doing the showing. You're in the flow. Like you can't. It's not we're not robots.
It's not healthy either, and even when, the sellers are like, no, I'm not watching. I know they're still watching, like, it's just, it's too hard not to watch. So just, I always tell agents before they show, hey, you're being filmed, just FYI.
Yeah, and if you're gonna watch like TikToks and whatever else while there's no one in there, like just do it through headphones. Like don't let them overhear what is
Yeah.
what a weird thing you're watching on your
That
phone.
might be your next TikTok, runway here. You get all these agents that are on camera with various sellers throughout the country, and like they're mess ups.
Yeah, well, there's plenty. There's plenty.
I know.
Good segue though. Speaking of TikTok and media, the Sky team has some pretty hilarious media out there. Brock was kind of talking about it a little bit. It's been a while though since we talked to him, but your stuff's kind of, I mean, obviously you're out there displaying the properties, displaying the listings. You have a lot of new construction, so it's like, here are the features of this. We're talking about the location, but a lot of your stuff has humor. It's like specifically written with comedy or like some kind of, it's got a twist. I remember watching one with you where it's like, I don't even know what you're doing. It's kind of like ironic, sexy or something. You know what I'm saying?
No, which one are you talking
I
about?
can't remember. You were in
I think it's the one with the horse, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
You were doing, it was like whatever song you pulled up in the car. I don't think I remember. It was like you talking to the
Music
horse.
video?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of the marketing ideas that you guys have.
Yeah, I mean, we like to have fun, obviously, and we feel like everybody gets bored with the regular old property videos, so we try to get creative, and we work with some awesome videographers who, working with them, like the ideas are. I mean, we have so many ideas for things that we still haven't done. It's just taking the time and the money to, more the time to really to get into it. But so that one, this house on Bradley, which took a long time to sell because I had to sell it 3 times,
Wow.
was a really cool house. And it was like, how are we going to showcase this in a different way? So we did the series video with the time lapse or whatever, but I'm a big Drake fan and I love that song, Just Hold On, We're Going Home. So I was talking to the videographer. He's like, let's just do a music video, let's just do it. And that's what we did. And it was, so it's fun not to take yourself too seriously. And that's kind of where that came from. But we like to have fun.
It definitely got some shares because I was like, what are they doing?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Like,
and even like, we're in like the Screen Actors Guild strike and all that. But like, do you guys have writers that are writing some of the stuff? Because it's very clever. I remember I think you guys did a project over on H Street. And I just remember like it was construction and like there was girls and like the construction hammers. It was crazy.
So we don't have, like we're kind of doing the writing ourselves. Like sometimes we have a script, sometimes we don't. And those are funny because like I'm yelling at Brock and the developer being like, say this would be hilarious. Do this. And like, they're such good sports. This one developer like literally wants to go crazy and Brock's really being the good sport because, he's kind of going along with it. But so there was that music video. I forget the name of who it was. And sometimes you get in trouble with these songs. You have to be careful. You have to speed it up or slow it down or change the music a little bit. But I mean, that was just, we've done a couple of that where they were the construction workers, which was really funny.
Yeah, those are good.
And does all of that media just like, does it live on your Instagram? I haven't checked your Instagram lately, but it's like basically all there.
Yeah, so we'll put on Instagram Reels and Facebook, like the whole Meta family. Sometimes, I mean, we're not as big into TikTok, but we'll, sometimes just put in TikTok. For now, like we're doing it all ourselves, and I'm doing most of this stuff for Sky Group. So it just, it takes a lot of time.
The time, right? It's the time thing, and it's the same for me. So like when I started doing the TikTok stuff, it was all during the pandemic when it wasn't like necessarily a slow market at all. It's just the way we were doing business was different. We weren't all like, I certainly wasn't sitting here with Brent every week. I wasn't meeting up with like people face to face. So I had all this extra like time where I was just out and about by myself and I could edit videos and do whatever the hell I wanted. And so once you're back in like the normal swing of business face to face, your time evaporates very quickly. So getting that media done, you have to have like a specific person to really help you with it if you're on a team like as busy as you are.
Yeah, or you have to time block, which I'm not good at.
Right.
But yeah, your videos are great. I love watching them. I mean, it's just, if you have a good story and you like Joe Himmeley too, like when he's talking about his properties, I love watching those. I love watching yours. Like they're interesting. It's cool to see the price point and hear someone else talk about it and just, give the little highlights. So, but
there's lots of different ways to do it. I guess finding your own voice with it is important. And you guys, with the comedy stuff, I think that was great. I think you should do more of it. But I know if it's a time consumption, you're putting the effort into it yourself. It's like you're gonna have to make that time. Otherwise, it's not going to be consistent.
No, for sure, for sure. But the office stuff was a lot of fun. And I'll
Right.
tell you about one video we were going to do that we thought would be so funny because now, COVID's very different than it was. But we were going to do like a Big Lebowski thing where
Mhm.
like we go in, like Brock's been in the office for like, months and he like looks like the Big Lebowski. And we're like, what are you doing? He's just been like waiting there for us all to come back, the beard, like the milk, everything. So
That's funny.
we have all these things we want to do, but we'll get there.
I think the most memorable one is the Friends. It's like everyone talks about it. I mean, it's like classic. It was so well done.
I have to
Yeah,
revisit it.
those videographers are great, and we work with them on occasion. They've become really big time now. So, but yeah, that was like, I mean, we rented that fountain they paid for a permit in Reston. People were like looking at us like we were crazy. Like, what are you guys doing? Oh, are you part? And we didn't know that this coincided with the 25-year anniversary of Friends. So it was perfect.
Yes.
Everybody thought that, we planned it like that, but.
So do you guys have a videographer that's on your staff, or do you guys pay them? It's a retainer. Like, how does that work?
No, so we have a few different people that we work with who are great, and it's just kind of based on availability and what type of project we're trying to do. Like we have this one project, the Barker that we have in Brookland, like they just did drone, got a license for a drone and just did some cool drone shots and trying to tie that into like the retail stuff that's around there, and then I have this big lot in McLean too. We're going to do drone and kind of, do some cool futuristic stuff. But so it just depends on the property and what the angle is, but no one that we have on staff.
Curious, how long did it take to get the drone
Yeah,
license in DC?
Yeah, good question.
I think it took him just a couple of weeks actually, but it wasn't as bad as I thought.
Well, most of our listeners are local, and they understand that FAA regulations, it's like we're in a no-fly zone here in DC. So having drones, you can't just like put up a drone; it won't work. So
right.
Yeah, you need a special exception. So I didn't even I knew it was possible because I've seen drone videos done in DC, but I've never thought to like actually go through that process.
That's good information.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not worth it for every property, but like for
Sure.
a tall building where you're really trying to zoom around, or a property that's like not.
No, it's super eye-catching, and then it would be also it would really differentiate the marketing on your social media and everything, because not many people are doing drone videos here because it's not allowed. Period.
Well, it's also good for out-of-town buyers because there's a lot happening in Brookland. So if someone's coming in from outside the DMV, they can see all the cranes and all the buildup of what's going on in Brookland all the way through Eckington.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. Other markets, we see it all the time,
Totally.
these beautiful drone shots, but, so.
Well, okay, so switching gears and talking about the market. So you guys do a lot of new construction condos. You work with a lot of developers. We're in like a little shift in our market environment right now. Obviously, everything's like super micro location based. Like if you have something in a great location and it's well built and everything, you're going to be moving some product. But talk about your current experience with new condos and in a lot.
How's
of these,
the Barker going?
Yeah. These new condos in I won't call them necessarily emerging markets. I don't know if that's the right kind of term, but it's like, as developers are looking for new properties, they've got to find where the land is, and it's like they keep going to these different pockets and building it themselves, right? So tell us about your recent experience.
Yeah. So, I mean, DC market's tougher right now for sure, especially the condo market. And a lot of that is just because of the interest rates. These first time buyers have been priced out of the market. There's nowhere really for them to go. So people are renting longer than anticipated. I mean, these programs like HPAP have been great. We're actually, they're about to get another round of funding. So there's actually going to be a bus with HPAP that's going to go to a bunch of different properties, and they're going to hit some of these buildings.
Okay.
So that's really awesome that there was these incentives for first time home buyers and some help right now while the rates are a little bit tough for people. And then also, I mean, look, you have developers like the Barkers, Lock 7, they're amazing. They know what they're doing. And so when you're working with developers who, understand the market and how things change, they can weather the storm a little bit better and be more flexible with ideas on, staging or pricing or how to get creative. What's tough is when you work with investors, developers who are newer or don't really know their numbers or didn't build the product to the market like you told them to do, or didn't allow you to be involved, and then they're kind of stuck and they don't want to drop the price. It's like, that can then make or break someone's career, especially a smaller developer. So that's kind of what we're seeing right now, just like in real estate, some people being weeded out. Same thing's happening in the new construction developer world, is like people who have done it right will have staying power, and then some of the others unfortunately are going to have a tougher time.
So maintaining developer relationships can be tough in a tougher market, right? You're out there, they built the product, you're out there, you got the model unit, you're showing it, you're holding the open houses with an agent that isn't asleep, and you go back to your developer and you're like, nobody came by today. This has happened, I'm sure, right?
Sure, yeah.
Those conversations are tough. Like, obviously, having good relationships with your developers and having them understand is important. But like, tell us a little bit about the experience in doing that too, and having to have those kind of conversations with these developers.
Yeah, they're tough conversations. Again, a little easier when someone kind of knows what they're doing because they're more realistic about the market and they're like, oh, that sucks. I maybe won't, people became the last few years obsessed with making a lot of money on everything. And now it's like, what do you mean I'm going to break even? I don't want to break even, or I don't want to lose a little bit of money. But, not every real estate deal is going to be a lucrative deal at this point. And so, and not everybody comes out ahead. So having those conversations, I think, is just about setting expectations and just, we're just working as hard as we can to get it in front of people. And I think that's what we're really good at, is once we have our marketing, pushing it out, and like, there's new buyers coming in the market every day.
Yeah.
So, we're not, the idea isn't like, oh, let's just give up. No one showed up. We're just going to keep trying. And we might not have people for the next 5 open houses, but all it takes is getting this new video with the drone in front of the right person. They come in and then they put an offer,
For sure.
So.
Does the Sky Group also find opportunities for developers? Are you guys out there looking for land and looking for projects?
We're not out. I mean, we have a couple people on our team that might have more time to spend doing that. I mean, for us, if opportunities come across our desk, we'll definitely put it out to our developer clients, but we're not actively. It's really hard to be competitive doing that because the developers are doing it themselves, or they're paying people to do it, and so much information is online now that it's just word of mouth. We still get interesting opportunities, but otherwise not, actively looking.
And working with developers for 15 years here, it seems like even deals that come across your plate off market, if you send it to your 5 top developers, they've already seen it, they've shopped it, so there's enough fat in the pig, so to speak, that it's like, well, I got it offered at 700, you're bringing it to me at 850.
The wholesaling is kind of crazy. Yes. And it gets also frustrating when, I mean, listen, there's definitely circumstances where wholesaling makes sense, but what's hard for me is just like in circumstances where you see people being taken advantage of, which happens in this space. And so that's always hard, because especially with older people selling their place, that they get their property tied up in a contract and locked up to a wholesaler who's going to make the money when they should make the money because that's their retirement, Yeah. So just, that's tough.
So aside from the social media and, all the other stuff that we've discussed, tell us more about your other marketing. Like how are you staying in touch with clients? Do you still do physical mailers, gifts? Tell us more about that.
Parties.
Yeah, so I was doing haven't done party in a couple years, but I was doing, I love bucks fishing and camping in Chevy Chase. And so we were renting that out and doing a fun party there. And that was awesome because it's like good food and the flowers. It's like the whole vibe and aesthetic is kind of really something that I connect with. And that was awesome because I also love when my clients meet each other and like, just, I have such a wide range of clients so that was just specific to my clients. And then we were doing some team client stuff we would do a boat situation or do like a bigger party, but we really need to get back to doing those events. It's just with COVID, it's been tough. And keeping in touch. I mean, we do closing gifts and then we do touches throughout the year. I mean, this is something where my coordinator, Anna, is huge because I like to really customize my gifts to my clients. I feel like I get to know them really well. So I don't want to just send them anything like just a cutting board or whatever. If they have certain specific interests, I like to tailor to that. And then just keeping touches throughout the year, if they have a baby or an anniversary or they've been in the house for a year, whatever it is. I'll even send gifts sometimes, like if they miss out on a contract, I'll send them a cocktail or something, to make them feel like, they're not alone.
I've been more into that lately too. Like if I like it's more off the top of my head. If I'm thinking about a client, like you drive by their house or you're in a neighborhood, I just send them something. It's
Yeah.
just like it doesn't have to be a measured thing. I'm just like I feel like sending them a gift basket today, and I do it. I don't know.
And it's so easy now so Foxtrot, I love. I don't know if you guys used them at all, but they'll deliver within 30 minutes. And there's one in Bethesda now too. So Foxtrot has like such cute food and gifts, and they'll deliver it really quickly. And then DoorDash, Uber Eats. I mean, you can deliver packages, flowers, candles. I mean, it's amazing. Even just sending somebody lunch is huge.
Yeah.
So it's nice that we have those services that make it really simple.
What about holidays? Holidays are coming right up.
Yeah, so we usually partner with Rodman's because our friend, his family owns Rodman's. So we'll do like, make bags with champagnes, and my family's from Belgium. So we'll do Belgian chocolates, and then, sometimes tea because I'm a big tea drinker. Yeah. So try to do that every year for gifts. And it's always a lot more work than I anticipate because I usually end up bagging the stuff with me, or I'll put my kids to work or whatever, and we'll bag everything up and then, hand deliver it. But it gets harder the busier you are and the more clients you have to do it as personally as, delivering them yourself.
And I've noticed in the past, you guys have some really good team swag. I remember you guys had a bike, I believe, maybe a bunch of bikes, but I remember there was a bike.
Yeah. So we did a bike giveaway. That was awesome. That was a while ago, but we should probably do that again. And then we have otherwise like really nice gear, just t-shirts, sweatshirts.
What's your favorite?
Beanies, the hoodies. The hoodies are so soft. Yeah. And I'm a hoodie girl. So we have like, oh my God, we probably have like 15 at the house that we wear on rotation. Everybody does. And people come to the house. We're like, here's a Sky Group sweatshirt. So right now we have, the swag all over the world, I feel like, so we're just giving it out. And then we have our Yetis too, which are awesome. And they say, ask me who my realtor is on one side, and then Sky Group on the other side.
It's high quality stuff, so that's important.
Yeah, we do Yeti coolers too, which we give as closing gifts. That's really great because you can brand those. But it's fun because we did more sales out in Annapolis the past couple of years. So for people with boats, it's been fun to give them coolers, or people who like to grill out and spend time outdoors. So we definitely spend a good amount of money on our swag.
Yeah, and you guys have a cool logo too, so it's easy with a cool logo to put swag on a t-shirt, a sweat.
Starts with a cool logo. You got to have that.
You got to have a cool logo.
Thank you. Yeah.
I was perusing your website, and so I was noticing the AM Collective is another product or brand that you have. It's about, I guess you're helping sellers do design and renovations prior to selling. Can you talk about that?
Yes, and we've started helping our buyer clients too to kind of consult with them. So I just found there's a real void in the market for people that have houses like it's not been completely renovated, and maybe the house is not original or not, a tear down or a full gut renovation. It's kind of like this in between that if you made little tweaks to the property, it would get a lot more eyes on it and, sell for more. So we come in kind of with that eye, and I hired a design coordinator who helps kind of execute the vision of what we're trying to do, but just going in and walking through the property with the mentality that we know buyers do. They're very picky these days and can be particular. So fixtures, hardware, lighting, paint, and then sometimes we'll do staging, not full scale staging. We have bigger companies that do that, but if we need to come in and supplement, we'll do that for people. Okay. And I think it makes a huge difference to just pay attention to those details.
So as we wind down here, I think this is going to be launched sometime in November. Mm-hmm. The year is what it is. Do you have any thoughts or predictions for 24?
So I think that I'm hoping that DC will pick up, but I think, Maryland, Montgomery County, and Virginia will stay strong, single family markets, detached houses. I mean, especially closer in. I'm not sure what's going to happen with further out Potomac, which was really on fire, over the last few years, if people are still going to be drawn to being further out. I do think people are drawn to cities and wanting to be a bit closer in. And we're starting to see that people are really kind of wanting to stay inside the Beltway, but you have to pay for that. So hopefully that'll maybe push people more into the city a little bit. But I think overall, because we're so transient, it's going to stay strong. I think that right now, while the rates are where they are, people are still going to be a bit tentative as to how how high they're willing to pay for a place and how crazy they're willing to get. But I do think there's still a subset of buyers who are being way too picky, and they're just trying to time the market, and that's not going to work out because the rates are going to go down, prices will go back up, and they'll be stuck.
So, go ahead.
So you think rates will go down in 24?
That's
kind of what I heard.
So tough to even predict this.
We're going to hold this to you.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I mean, I had heard first quarter of 24, but at this point I'm hearing 25. So I don't know. But I'm also coming, my parents are like, we bought our house for 17% interest.
Right. But who cares? But the house cost $130,000, so enough.
No, I know. But also, like what people pay interest rates on credit cards and cars. I mean, it's like you need a place to live, and rents are just getting more expensive. So I think whether you try to get creative with these buy downs, or doing the, a lot of the lenders are doing free refis with, during the course of the, or the one free refi during your,
So what you were saying though about the, excuse me, the single family market is echoing like basically it's the experience that everyone's having right now, that the close in single family houses are absolutely our strongest sector, and just remaining so. Anything like Bethesda, Upper Northwest DC, 16th Street Heights, detached house, well priced, sells. Yeah. So you guys have been doing more sales in Annapolis. You were explaining that, and I just want to know, so that sort of cycle of where values started to really like a lot of pumping up of the values in the Eastern Shore, Annapolis, anything Chesapeake Bay. Are you finding that the clients that you've helped over there are still enjoying their decision if they bought something out there, if they migrated out there? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people looking to downsize and age in place, and it kind of like all of COVID facilitated doing this much more quickly than they had anticipated. So I had a lot of clients buying places out there as a second home with the idea that they would go out for like, a couple of days a week. And then they're finding once they're out there, they want to be out there 90% of the time. And so like I have one house right now that's in private placement in Chevy Chase where he's like, I bought this place. We're here one day a week. We just don't need it. They're not ready to fully let go, but they're definitely happy. And then their friends are going to visit them and they want to do it. So it's a lot of people, I think, with the intention of the second home. And then very quickly they're like, we're going to, make this more of our full-time gig now.
Got it. I think that's...
Any tips you'd give new agents if you had to go back to 2015? Anything you would do different?
I don't know. I worked my butt off. So I would just say, go into it with the mindset that you got to work really, really hard, and it's what you make it, what you put in, you'll get out. And I think joining a team or making sure that you have really good mentors, or even just joining an office that has a lot of top producers and being engaged with that is really important, because it's really hard to do on your own. So I think having a team and having that support is great.
That's perfectly said, and it's exactly right. That's what I tell every young agent. I'm like, you better be ready to work, and it's not a get-rich-quick scheme, and might want to find some people who know what they're doing who actually want to work with you. So there you go.
Wise advice.
Anna, thank you so much for joining us today and taking time out. And we're going to hit you with some rapid-fire questions.
Okay.
5 easy questions. What are you binge watching right now?
The Beckham thing on Netflix. I don't know if it's called Beckham or what, but
I think it is called Beckham.
David Beckham. Yeah, it's real. I had no idea what he dealt with the aftermath of the World Cup scenario.
Okay.
It's like, yeah.
We'll definitely check that out.
What about Messi?
Spice Girl, so it's fun to see Posh Spice.
What about Messi? You a fan of Messi?
Yeah, I like Messi. I'm not super into soccer, but who doesn't like the Beckhams?
So what is your favorite go-to restaurant in the DMV?
Oh my gosh, this is hard. I mean, I have a few. So we love Woodmont Grill in Bethesda just because it's consistent, and it's one of the best places, I think, when you even compare to restaurants in DC. But otherwise, I love Maidan. I love that type of food. And Tail Up Goat, I really like, in Adams Morgan. And Queen's English. It's owned by good friends of ours, but that's always a fun treat to go there. Cool experience and amazing wine. And yeah.
I'm going to give a quick shout out. I know it's not these questions are for me, but I just want to give a quick shout out to Love Makoto. Have you been there yet?
I haven't, but I've heard it's really good.
It's really good.
What is it?
It's like several restaurants in a space. It's near Lardente downtown, like in Congressional Crossing, which is the structure they built over the 395 tunnel. And it's Eric Eden's project. He also has, Unconventional Diner in Lardente. And so he's got like a sushi bar. He's got like almost like a Korean barbecue, Japanese barbecue, and then like a little food hall. And it's awesome. It's like really well done.
I've heard it's really good. We've been meaning to go do that. Shoto's fun too.
Shoto's good. We went to National Landing last Friday, and I think they just opened up their food hall. It's outside. And I think Queen's English. There was a Queen's something there. I remember looking at it. Not that I went there.
Yeah, they won best wine program, and the owners are a couple, and the husband's the chef, Henji, and then Sarah's front of the house, and she's a sommelier now. Amazing. I mean, if you like interesting wines, she's the place to go to.
What's your go-to wine?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I like all types of wine. It just like we went to Italy this summer, so I was like, we're only drinking Italian wine, but I love wine from all over California, France. I mean, just kind of depends on what we're eating.
So you mentioned Drake earlier. What's your last live concert you went to? Or your favorite concert of all time?
Oh, favorite concert. I mean, I think Kygo was the last concert I went to. Favorite concert of all time? Prince, probably. I got to see him once, and that was unbelievable.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know in a lot of your videos, you guys have a variety of cars. What's your favorite car?
Oh, man. I mean, I really love the G-Wagon just because it's just like, I just feel like it's classic.
Is that what you're driving now?
Classic, yeah.
Okay.
And it's green, which is my favorite color, so I love that.
Has it got a matte finish on it?
It doesn't have a matte finish, no.
Yeah, it's a sharp looking car.
She's okay.
Yeah.
So to note, I had that written down here. Anna and Barack are crazy car people. Like you had some Mercedes. Was it yours? It was like a Mercedes wagon with a matte finish. That was sick.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite cars, and we ended up selling it just because it didn't make sense. It's kind of like a passion purchase and a little impulsive, but I want to get that car again one day. That's the E63 wagon.
Yeah, E63. It's
amazing.
Yeah.
How does that not make sense? I mean, I'm thinking like that's the most practical car you can have.
Yeah, you don't think, I mean, it's basically like a supercar. I mean, you can rally that car. It sounds amazing. It's comfortable. Like if it's a family, it's just such a great car. You wouldn't know. You see it on the road and you're like, oh, what is this? And then you see it move and you're like, whoa. That
particular year, I think that you had, I saw the car, like those cars were absolute beasts. They had that's the super AMG engine. They still make the engine, but they're not putting it in as many vehicles because of the changes of, how they're doing everything now with production cars. So that car had like a beast racing engine for real.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah.
Last question here. What's your all-time favorite vacation?
Oh, man. I mean, Italy's pretty great. I'm usually more of a beach person. Like, I love the heat. I love the summer, sand, water. But Italy, the food, and just the scenery and the history, too. Like, Rome is such an incredible city. I'd probably say Italy.
Italy.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Rome is an amazing city. Like I wanted to be an archaeologist when I was little. So going there and just walking through the sites is unreal.
Excites all the senses.
You have to switch your German car for an Alfa Romeo.
Not an
Yes.
No.
Might have to.
Ferrari.
Oh, yes, a Ferrari.
Ferrari, Lambo, one of those.
All right, thanks.
Anna, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for meeting with us.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks for listening to Keyed In with your hosts, Max and Brent, unlocking the minds of the industry's top real estate professionals. For more information on selling your home, find us online at keyedinpodcast.com. Remember to subscribe to Keyed In on Apple Podcasts or wherever you like to listen to podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at Keyed In Podcast, at Rabin Max, and at Brent E. Jackson. And follow Max on TikTok at MaxwellRabin_properties.